Our Protoss player of Team MVP starts at the bottom left of the map. His name is Sangho and his ID is...
Quantic Center.
No, not quite. That was a nice switch with the camera that we just had, but that's not really true. That's him. That's
Center. And I guess we introduced Sangho again to the top left. Formerly known as TSL Baby Bye Bye, now known as...
MVP Killer.
Production's like, really? They had to struggle on that one.
The other top left.
Oh, right. Top left.
You have a top and bottom thing. Did you ever notice that?
It's the thing about his ID is at the top left of the screen.
Ah.
That's what always gets me. Remember last time this happened, I had that same feel.
Yeah, that happens to you quite often. I was always wondering why, but that makes a lot of sense if you look at the scoreboard and then top left. Okay.
Yeah.
That suddenly makes so much sense to me. I'm like, whoa.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a weird thing that, I mean, it makes sense on a mental level, but it doesn't make sense on a ID call level. But going to this, we have a weird placement of the gateways by Killer. He has his gateway on the low ground, powered by the pylon on the high ground, which indicates that he probably wants to put some early Zealot pressure on, expecting a command center first.
One of the things that I wanted to say again, we touched on this before we went into the game, is that these two have a really good record in the recent past against their opponent's race. We have Killer in the up and downs with a very convincing win against Happy with the 2-0, he took him out. He also was able to win against another Terran player during the Korea qualifier at the preliminaries. He took out Kong. He lost to a few high-level Terran players before that, but in the recent past, his play against Terran is quite impressive. And then you have Center, his opponent, who now took down Seed twice, actually, in Korea in the last season and the season before, and also was able to win in the last up and downs against most of his Protoss opponents. He won against Finale, he won also against Flying. The only Protoss that was able to best Center back then was actually Hawk.
Look at this counter, this pylon placement from Killer. He could easily hide a robotics here, or even a Stargate. He's not Genius, but he has played like Genius in the past. Core is finished, the pylon is ready as well. What are you going to show us, Mr. Sangho?
I think the robotics would make a lot of sense here.
Well, he's going to get his Stalker out first. Wants to put some pressure on by ground. It could be, we have seen this very rarely, a very fast pylon to spot drops.
But I feel then he wouldn't leave the probe there, and there's the robotics. You know, this is exactly what we said earlier. Killer is a player that likes to get cheeky.
Ooh, and Center might fall victim to this because he's going for double CC.
Double CC going for a late game scenario here, trying to play it a little bit greedy with the economy.
Do you think it's going to be Immortals, or do you think it's going to be a Warp Prism 4-gate?
To be honest with you, I actually don't know.
I think it's going to be the 4-gate, as now he's adding 2 gates at home. If he adds the third one...
I would rather see the Immortal, but I can certainly see him go for a 4-gate with a Warp Prism.
It looks like anything is possible here because he's not chrono boosting his Warp Gate research, he's adding 2 gates, and...
I think we're going to see Immortals.
I think so too, it starts looking more that way. Yeah, there is the first Immortal being chrono boosted. Killer has shown this build. I remember the first time we ever saw this build, if it was either Killer or it was Trickster doing this build on Delta Quadrant back a long time ago. It's scary. It's not something you want to face as a Terran player, especially when you're playing a greedy build like this.
And especially when it's unscouted, and so far Senna has no idea. He has no clue. Did he scout anything?
Well, let's check it. He did get in there and see that there was double gas. That's all he knows.
He saw it earlier, but that's... wow, he gets the SCV in there. Look at that. He actually sees what's going on. This is quite impressive, and this suddenly puts Killer on a clock.
Yeah, and Center has to pull out so fast on the low ground. Center, I can't believe even... Is he going to just try to fake out the bunker there?
Yeah.
I guess so.
He's trying to delay this a little bit with only one Marine, trying to buy himself some time for the bunkers on the high ground, but Killer is already on the move. Where are the supply depots? He needs to make sure that those units don't get into the main base. Here come the SCVs, trying to help out. Triple bunker nearly completed.
Yeah, and if those bunkers finish, I feel this is not going to work. But we have seen Killer do crazier things in the past to make it work. He does not have high ground vision just yet. He's chrono boosting that observer out, triple bunker is ready, though. The thing is, they're so spread out. As long as he doesn't scan and kill the observer, which Killer has to be so careful about, then he can pick off the bunkers one by one because they're so spaced and get the one on the left side really easily.
Senna lost a lot of units, a lot of SCVs that is. He lost 9 in total and he's down to 19. Killer definitely has an advantage in the worker count, but we have 3 orbitals for Senna. This is so many mules.
He needs to pull the observer back. I cannot believe he flew it in just like that, but now he can walk up the ramp. He's got the vision regardless.
He's got the vision, but the big problem is with the observer gone, it's going to be very tricky here. Another observer is being built, and now Killer adds the Warp Prism.
The Warp Prism is a smarter choice. I've talked to a lot of people about this, and you know, the thing is, Warp Prism costs more resources and minerals, so a lot of people choose not to make it. The thing about the Warp Prism is it has more hit points than Observer. That's just it. Yeah, you can scan and kill an Observer. It takes a scan, so it's a little bit more annoying in that way, but the Warp Prism is also a warping point, so it's got multiple purposes. You can even lift units if you need it to.
But Wolf, I think it's too late. This is so difficult. This is really, really difficult here for Killer. He has to win it now. He's on 1 base against 3 CC. Yes, only 1 mineral line is being saturated, but still, here comes the drop into the main base, and this is exactly what Killer can do to take this game after all. But this is a very, very tricky position for him to be in.
Yeah, he needs to pick up the Immortals, and he does. He has to keep that Warp Prism alive. Much more hit points, as I said, than an Observer.
Uh-oh. Center supply block.
Center is supply block. This is going to limit his production, of course, for quite some time. Nice targeting on the Immortals, but he loses a very important Immortal.
Yeah, that was bad by Killer. He tried to pick it up, but his Micro in this second was a bit shaky. Loses an Immortal, has only 1 left. Where's the lift on the command center?
He's
just fly it up a little bit, and this is exactly what he does now.
Yeah, I think he may have even intentionally been trying to buy time there. Oh, Killer cannot afford to lose that Immortal. In fact, I'm wondering if he's going to consider trying to move the Stalkers up there too. If he could get everything in there, then he could win the game, but I don't know if he realizes this.
I don't think that he actually can. It's not like he has Blink available. Right now we have him with another bunker that he is able to take down, also the supply depot, but more and more units are being built for Senna. At least he's trying to, but he's supply built again, double supply depot about to finish, and also let's not forget about the stim upgrade, which is going to change everything here.
Alright, I think Killer's going to try to do it.
There's no way. He doesn't have the time to elevate everything on the high ground.
And Stim is about to be done.
This is so tense.
Yeah. I think Center is, as long as he doesn't let that Warp Prism lift everything in, he's fine. I think that's the only way Killer could win here.
That's
and it's just,
way
it seems impossible, you know?
Yeah.
He doesn't have enough firepower.
Stim is done. Stim is done. He can actually stim in and take down not only the Warp Prism, but also... You know, this is this time when it gets scary, when Killer loads up those 2 Immortals, and then suddenly Senna decides, well, it's time for me to just stim my Marines and go in, take down the Warp Prism. That would be the time where Killer loses the game. But we are not there just yet. Killer still has a lot of units.
Second Warp Prism is interesting. He could try to go to the back and pick off depots. Killer is on such a clock, though, because his Nexus will eventually mine out.
Yeah.
I mean, so will Center, but Center can fly away.
Yeah, Senna can fly away those command centers to the left. That's what he could do.
And Killer doesn't even know if he's doing that or not. He has no idea. He has no vision, no observer on the left side of the map.
Extra supplies being called down by Senna. A little bit of a macro slip up there. Has to use the energy, but he has triple.
All right, he's actually going for the elevator.
Here we go. He's trying to move in. He's elevatoring. Here comes the stim. We have 3 bunkers taking apart all those stalkers.
He just doesn't have enough damage output here. He can't get everything into the main. He pulls back here, lifts out what he can to save it, but this is the last nail in the coffin. I feel Killer can't do anything more with this.
This is just way too much. We have 23 SCVs now against 22 Harvesters. There are also all the mules that he can call down. Yes, the minerals will be mined out eventually, but Killer is the one who cannot take another base at this point.
Yeah, Killer is going to lose anything he drops out. He forces a lot of stims, but if I'm not mistaken, he can start medevacs now. Yeah, and he does. He starts his first medevac right now.
Doesn't have a reactor at the starport, but still.
And a Hellion comes into the main. This is not good at all. Killer has to use a Warpin at home to prevent this. In fact, he's going to actually try to attack with probes.
This is most important just because of the scouting information. This is basically the main goal of Senna, trying to find out what exactly is going on here. And now he can even send additional Hellions to the bottom. He produces them at the factory that he flew over to his 3rd base, or a potential 3rd base. And this is just further putting a Sangho behind.
Yeah. He needs to just warp in 1 Stalker, but he can't afford to do that.
Oh, he's going to lose so many of those probes if he doesn't pay attention. And he loses all of them. This is not good.
This could not be worse, really.
4 Immortals. That is the last chance of Killer, and he's going for it. He's moving in. It is Immortal time. But here is the army. It's already waiting.
So
It's
much
stimming.
stim. He stims everything in the bunkers as well.
No way. No way.
Totally owned here.
No chance of breaking through those 3 bunkers and all those Marauders.
Yep. No way. It's way too late. GG. Center with a nice hold here.
Wow.
Just not really slipping up too much. Staying calm. You know, I like his decision to call down supplies because for 2 reasons. The first reason, of course, is you need the units now. You can't wait. And the second one is when you're running out of minerals in your base, that's 100 minerals you save. When you have 3 orbitals, if you use all those on mules, you're going to run your minerals out really fast and you're going to feel a little bit less flexible. But if you have the call down supply, obviously it's not, you don't want to make it for every depot, but occasionally using a call down supply does save you some minerals.
I highly doubt that was his thought process.
I don't know, but I actually think it's really smart
They
if he had thought about it that way.
Yeah, but well, whatever it was, he won
He
the
made
game.
extra depots anyways. Like, he made like 5 extra depots he didn't need, so he probably wasn't thinking about it that way, but still, that's
whatever it was, his defense was really good. I mean, making sure that he does not get the elevator killer that was kind of the most important part.
Yeah, exactly.
And you actually said it. You were like 2 times, well, if he can elevator everything. And with the second warp prism, that's exactly what he tried to do.
Yeah.
Like, elevator as much as possible with 1 warp prism. He looks at it, he's like, that's never going to happen. I need like an hour to elevator everything in the main base. Let's get a second one.
As soon as Center sees 1 Stalker come out of the Warp Prism, he's going to gun those Warp Prisms down. If he sees only Immortals, he can be patient and wait because Immortals don't fire very quickly. And if you're moving Immortals in, it's probably just going to be to do a micro trick.
So really well done here by Senna. He takes the lead in the group as well as, well, not really a lead, but he's now on par with Effort and also, of course, with Raider, who won the first game today. We are going to jump into a short commercial break. As soon as we are back, we're heading into the second set of matches. See you guys in a few.